It is finally time for part 2 of the How I Got Here video. And I'm sorry for the delay, but I've been farming all week. And there's a few people I have told that I've been farming. And most people are like, well, since you've been farming, why can't you film? You're in the game. No. That's not what's happening. I'm not farming in the game. I'm actually farming, as in combining corn and beans, you know, like in a field, stuff like that on a farm. Most people don't know what that is if you live in a city or stuff like that, and they misunderstood. So I actually had quite a few laughs about that. But where I last left off was June 2017 with the release of Grand Admiral Thrawn. I was totally pumped when he first came out, and he was also a character where you could, if you had 5-star Phoenix, you could get him at 5 stars. And he's one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. So this is where, again, I said Nihilist really helped the game take off for me, and Thrawn even pushed it even more. Now, luckily, when they released the Phoenix characters to be farmed, they released them into the Squad Arena store, the Galactic War store, some Cantina nodes, which was nice. They were easier to achieve. And also with Thrawn came the Chimera. And to get the Chimera, you needed the Ghost and the Phantom, which were Phoenix pilots, and they were needed for the Ghost and the Phantom. And it was also, if you have them at 5-star, you could get the Chimera at 5-star. I think it was 5 or 6, and that was wonderful as well. And Thrawn is the only character that is still usable. Well, I shouldn't say only. He is a character that is still very viable in the game in every aspect today. I still have him as the best character in the game. I just used him in Arena trying to beat some Revan teams. Speaking of which, for those of you that are champions of Revan, I have Revan, as you can see right there, and I don't have Jolie yet, who I'm slowly working on. I have him, I just don't have him leveled up or Zetaed. How are you guys defeating these teams? I can't get my Revan speed up to like 312, which some people have him at, and I'm really struggling. So let me know in the comment section below. So we had Thrawn come out, and it diversified things quite a bit. From the time from June to July, we had R2 come out around this same time as well, if I'm correct. Some things I get a little confused with. And R2 is one of those characters at first I'm like, he's a droid. How powerful can he be? Why in the world would I go after him or farm him? And then slowly, as I realized that his Zeta abilities were some of the best in the game with passive cleanse, and then giving all of his stats, 10% of all of his stats to basically every team you used back then, I decided that, you know what, it's time. It's time to get him. Then we had R2. I slowly started farming other characters of the game, and I wanted to make sure I farm mods big time. This is when I really started. I was obviously farming mods beforehand, because I was obviously able to take first in Arena for a while, so I had to have decent mods. But this is when I went hardcore on mods. I wanted to get the best speed mods, the best damage mods there were, and I spent a lot of time focusing on mods. I couldn't wait to roll my mods each day, see if I got a speed mod with some speed that I'd be able to get way up there. And then we had the CLS release. This was in August or September of 2017. A lot of people that had played the game from start had the characters you needed to unlock CLS. So I'll go down to Rebels here and I will show you. Old Ben, Princess Leia, Stormtrooper Han, R2, and let me see here. I'm obviously pulling a brain fade. We had R2, Obi-Wan, Stormtrooper Han, Princess Leia. Oh, and Farm Boy Luke. And Farm Boy Luke, I had at 7 stars, but I never really took the time to farm Old Ben or Princess Leia because by the time I started playing the game, they weren't as viable anymore, and I was focusing on other things. Stormtrooper Han I did have farmed because he's from the Squad Arena store, and he was a pretty solid character. So I had to spend a lot of time getting Old Ben, getting Princess Leia. I had to drop a few dollars getting the packs, like, it was the $9.99 pack to get a few shards of Princess Leia or Old Ben, and I got them to 7-star. And I think the hardest event, besides Chewie, which I will get to eventually, that I had to do was the CLS event, because I had them at like gear 7, 8, or 9, one of the two, and I finally got lucky with some stuns from R2 in the final phase and got CLS to 7 stars, and I took him immediately to gear 11, and we didn't have gear 12 at the time. And I gave him the it binds all things Zeta, and he immediately became the meta. And some people didn't like that time of the game because you were running CLS. I didn't have General Kenobi yet either. So the Titans team, as they called it, was CLS, Han Solo, Thrawn, General Kenobi, and R2. I ended up having quite a few viable teams where I ran CLS, Han, R2, and then Chase at times. Sometimes I threw in Ezra. Sometimes I kept Palpatine, and it was a lot of fun. And about from September 2017 forward is when I really started. I went after the Imperial Troopers. I started getting the Bounty Hunters leveled up. And then we get to about October of that year, and I believe that's when they released the Nightsisters. This is October 2017. And Talzin and the Zombie and the Spirit. And they were a pay-to-play team when they first came out. They were almost what I want to call, I'm not going to say cheater team because they were part of the game. If a person had Nightsisters in Arena, and they had them all the way maxed out, Zeta, they were going to be able to take first place. And the normal teams that you would use for offense, you would struggle to beat Mother Talzin with. So I would end up throwing an Imperial Trooper team in there, which I had leveled up because I loved, and defeating her, and then I'd put my CLS team back in to hold on defense. And I was still able to achieve first place at the time, which was fun. So again, we have from October to then we get to December 2017. And that's when Jedi Training Rey releases. And you needed the vets to unlock her. And I had not really started farming them at all. So this is an area of the game where a lot of videos were coming out saying, how good is she going to be? You know, what's going to happen? And I followed along with that. I'm thinking, what do you need? And then I started to see some footage on her. And I guess I have to back up a little bit, just a little bit, because I want to make sure I cover everything, and sometimes I forget everything. BB-8 came out beforehand, and as a legendary character. And he was a character that I didn't want to farm because he was like R2. I'm like, he's a droid. How good can he be? And then I realized that Illuminated Destiny was a raid killer, and eventually it became a Jedi Training Rey massacre for your own JTR team. So I did get first order characters, which I had leveled up somewhat. I had to get one more to 7-star, and I got BB-8. I got him the second time through, I believe. Or was it the first time through? Actually, it was the first time through. I think I've got every legendary character the first time through so far, and that is the truth that's come out besides Palpatine and Yoda before I started the game. And of course, when JTR came out, I had to drop a little on the vets. Not as much as usual because I had some good drops. I had some good packs, some good farming rates, things like that. And I got them to gear level 8, and I was able to get JTR. That's when my meta changed to JTR. I love JTR. And I ran her with Scavenger Rey, General Kenobi, JTR, R2, and BB-8. And it was great. I loved it. We had some diversity finally between CLS, and this was December of 2017, or 11 months ago. Then we started to get hints dropped about Sith. I will back up just a little bit because people want to know, well, who did you farm at the time and stuff like that. I really, really, really wanted to take my clones, which I'll find here somewhere. I wanted to work on getting them to 7-star because it was at that time of the game. It's like, you know what? I just want to get as many people to 7-star as possible because I realized with the heroic hero journey event, some of the legendary events, that you needed people at 7 stars to complete them. So that's when I just started mass farming everybody. Mods, mass farming is what I did. And I just kept maintaining my arena team. I never really leveled anybody up, but I just kept farming everybody. As you can see, I don't have my Jawa at 7-star yet because I don't want to divert any resources to him right now, or I haven't. By the way, the clone troopers with their helmets on are insane. The other thing I do have to do, which I should start doing, is the Ewoks. You need them to be able to do the event where you can get Zetas every time. Probably something I should do. Again, I just don't have unlimited resources. That's about the time I also got Grievous to 7 stars because I thought a rework would come sometime with early 18. It didn't, but that's okay. And as you can see, Gar Saxon Imperial, Super Commando, all these people I started to get to 7 stars. Amlin Holdo, Rose Tico, I'm sorry. I know you're probably going to be needed for something at some point in time, but we're not there yet. And people have also noted, why have you started, why didn't you get Force Order Executioner leveled up? And why are you doing it now or getting him to 7 stars? Well, finally, there's a time in the Cantina store, or I guess I should say in the Cantina farming, where I don't need, the only character I need to really focus on is First Order Executioner. There's no necessities right now. I don't need to get an Old Republic character or anything like that. I can start farming some of these leftover characters and get them to 7 stars, which I am totally pumped about. So that I'm able to do right now as well. So as I said, we ran with JTR. That's what I ran with for a while. And then we got hints of new Sith coming out. In February of this year, 2018, everybody thought back then, okay, Revan's coming out. They gave us a lot of stuff, and oh, yes! And then it ended up being, which was this early March or late February, because we got the Sith Marauder like around Valentine's Day. And I should probably, I think I'm going to level him up because I leveled Sith Assassin up as well. And I want to get their starships. I think the Sith starships could be a meta at some point in time. I really like the idea of the concussion mines, which are similar to thermal detonators. So that's when the Sith came out. And when Scion came out, this is when I started filming videos, was mid-February 2018. One of my first videos was buying Darth Scion in the packs. And the reason I decided to do that is I was on Arnold T101's Discord, and he said, hey, if any of you decide to buy buy Scion, can you screen record it or record it and send it me so I can use it in a video? And I'm like, yes, I'm a starting out YouTuber. This would be great. So I did, and I sent it to Arnold, and he made a video. It was great, great promotion. Give me quite a few subscribers out the gate, which was great. And I had also had Palpatine leveled up at the time and gave him his Zetas. So that's when I started to run with the Palp meta. I had Palp, Scion, Nihilus. I had them at 7 stars. I leveled up Sith Trooper. And I put Vader in there. And I'd switch out Vader and Thrawn because Thrawn was amazing as well. And then in March, it was March about, we had the Sith Raid, the Heroic Sith Raid and Sith Raid come out. And I was thinking, in my guild, who was back then, I thought we were pretty powerful. We couldn't dent the Sith Raid. They made it hard, which allowed us to keep focusing on other areas of the game. But in hindsight, I probably should have started farming teams for the Sith Raid right away. I should have went after Nightsisters. That was a mistake. I should have focused. I had the JTR team ready, which was great for Phase 1. But I really didn't focus on any others for any aspect of the raid. And that probably hurt me and the rest of our guild. We really didn't decide to go after that either. So it is what it is. Because today I'm starting to get Traya, which I'm 66 shards in, I think. So then, let's see. We had in between that time, I just kept farming again, getting characters to 7 stars. There was no particular character I was mainly focusing on because I had all the Sith unlocked and at 7 stars. Around May is when Solo came out and we started to get the Solo characters. Now, I completely threw them aside. I'm like, I love the movie was good for all the Star Wars haters out there. I actually thoroughly enjoyed the movie. But I don't really want these characters. I don't want to divert time away from the other aspects I'm farming, from mods, all of that other stuff. It's just, I was like, yeah. So I really didn't focus on them much at all. And then in June and July, let's see here. I'm probably going to miss something here that I'm forgetting about. First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot. Did we really have a lot of characters released at the time? If it's something I really can't remember, it's probably not that big of a deal. And this was pretty recently, by the way, going through all here. And it was just playing the game. Now, it was probably June or July is when some people finally started to get Traya. And the metas or the arena started to change for me. It was much harder to continue to get first place or in the top 10 at least because I didn't have Traya. I was still able to with my Palpatine. I'd use Thrawn, I'd Fracture, I'd get through there. But yeah, and I should go back a little bit because I did miss one crucial point here. Emphasis came out as one of the solo characters. And I realized that I wasn't able to get Traya, and Nest is unbelievable. So I did wail on Nest because of her constant protection gain, and she helped me in the arena as well. So I shouldn't say I threw away the solo characters whatsoever. I think she came out a little later, though, than when some of the other ones were released. And I did go after her, and she's still a great character. She's used in many aspects of the game. She helps me in the Sith raid as well, which I can't wait to do some more Sith raid videos for you guys. I'm going to be able to do that now that I have time to be able to continue to basically film whenever I need to. Then we started to have the talk about a mod change coming, and mods 2.0. And it wasn't going to be released for a while, but we got hints. And eventually, was it in August, September, they released. They came out with all these mod changes. And I enjoy them. I think it makes it more sophisticated, and I like the sophistication because I like to be able to doctor up my own team and do different things and come out with an edge. I know a lot of people, which I'm glad that they added this. What they say, there was a ridiculous amount of people that didn't use mods at all in the game that played a lot because they didn't understand them. So they were able to give you the basic mod loadout here, and you could auto assign mods. It would tell you what recommended sets to do. Again, I don't advise this at first here because I'll do some more how to mod videos. But then they allowed us to get to the gear or the 6-dot mods, which really changed things. And then of course I missed earlier in the video when they came out with gear 12, and you know, gear 12 came out, we were like, you know, I farmed it. It wasn't exactly game-changing for me. I mean, it was for some of the characters. But if it's not something I particularly remember in my journey or exactly when it happened, it's not that serious. But then we had these, and the mods were big for me. I got some of the packs to be able to get them to 6 stars right away. And I think it's very, very cool. Again, not everybody shares my sentiment. We had the Jolie and Bastila release at this time a few months ago as well. And I was like, they're going to be needed for something. Because then eventually T3 came out, Zalbar, Mission, and then we started to figure out that they're going to be needed for Revan. You know, I'm talking within the last 4 or 5 months here. And I got Bastila to like 4 stars. I spent to get her to 4 stars, like $9.99 or something like that. Because I started to try to use her in arena then. Again, I didn't have Traya, so I was still running with a Palpatine. I ran with a Palpatine for just like a month or 2 ago. And again, Bastila, Jolie, I leveled up Bastila and I used her with a Jedi team. It was great. And then when the other characters started coming out, I realized that, they're going to be needed for something. But of course, they weren't farmable for a while. So again, just summing things up a little bit. Then we started to get for bounty hunters. And the Django release, and I did get Django. It was a disappointment for some of me. And I got Embo, and I got Aura. Did I? Yeah, I'm just thinking of what order I got them in and stuff like that. Because my goal was, a few months ago was when I created a guild. And half my old guild moved to this guild. And we're growing, and we started to be able to do the Sith raid. And my old guild, we still keep in contact with every day. Because eventually when we're going to get Traya, we're going to rotate down there and help them. That's our goal. Be able to do the Sith raid themselves. And they're getting closer themselves to doing their first Sith raid, which is great. So I got the bounty hunters and Aura for the Sith raid. And I love it. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, then Django released, and then came the Chewie event, which was just a few months ago. Or, was it a month, 2 months? Pulling a brain fade here. And we did the event, and it was extremely hard. I was able to complete it because I had taken bounty hunters to gear 12, got some Zetas on them, because, again, my focus was for the Sith raid. I wanted to be able to max out damage in P3 and stuff like that, because my thought was Traya. So that helped me big time, because then I was prepared for Chewie. And then I unlocked Chewie, which was great. And so for 3 or 4 weeks, I had probably one of my favorite teams I've ever ran, actually, because of just the damage that it did. CLS, Raid Han, R2-D2, Chewbacca, and I played with Nest for a while. I tried General Kenobi, and then I decided to farm L3. I'd seen a few other videos. I did some research myself, and she completely helped me stay within the top 10. She didn't fall on defense much at all when I put her in there. I could just walk through teams on offense. And then the Old Republic characters became farmable. And I immediately, as you know, these have been some recent videos, when I got to farm these people. So I diverted all resources towards farming the Old Republic characters. All I spent my energy on was farming the Old Republic characters. Then we are to where we're at today. We know the whole Revan situation. I finally got them to 7 stars. I had to spend only 150, which I understand is a lot of money, but compared to getting them all from scratch, buying them when they were at 3 stars still, farming them hardcore, getting them to 6 and most of them to 7 stars before happening to drop just a little to get Revan was worth it. And now we are where we are at with Revan. It seems to me there's a little lull in the game right now, even though Revan was just released. Let me know what you think. And part of it is, I love Revan. He's great. But he is complicated to use. I think I'm going to need to get Jolie to be dominant, which... it's like, do I want to put my next Zeta on Revan? Do I want to give the Zeta to direct focus, which basically stuns and grants buff immunity? I know that could be huge. Or do I want to put it on Jolie so he can revive Jedi allies? It's a tricky question. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Because I'll go right now, and I'll show you right now I just dropped to 25th. What? I was 18 like 10 minutes ago. Oh. I can beat the Traya teams. Beat them quite easily. But these other Revan teams, I am struggling with. I can still defeat them like 50% of the time. I've been having to do a lot of refreshes. As you can see, it says Battle 5. I just had to refresh again with battles because I want to try to get to my spot, get to 5. And man, I'm struggling. And I think the biggest reason I'm struggling is every Yoda that we look at here, this guy has a 263 speed. Some people have like Yoda at 290. And then they also have Revan at like 306 somehow. This Revan is at 281, so this one isn't as fast. But I will go to ranks here, and we'll look at the top of Arena. And there we go. Let's look at Hickorine. I think he watches some of these videos. So, yeah, your Revan's being showcased here, man. 297. That's high. Again, there's some 300s around here where they go first all the time. And then Yoda has that much speed. But they also have Yoda with that much speed with some crit damage mods as well. 272. And sometimes I get wiped the floor because I try with Ezra, I try with Bastila, I throw Hermit Yoda in there, and it's a struggle. And I like to pride myself in being a strategic genius in this game, and I better get my energy here. And I'm struggling with it. So I want your guys' opinion. What should I do? Should I try to work a CLS team back in there with Nest? Again, I've seen a few with Thrawn, which of course I love Thrawn. And that's where we are today. To sum it up, I probably spent a lot more time explaining the, first 6 months of the game until the rest, because the first 6 months is when I really started farming anybody. So now, again, to cover what are the characters that I really regretted farming? I brought up Mace Windu and Django as the main ones. But just scrolling through here, is there any absolute regret that I have? I can't really say that there is, because every character is useful in some aspect of the game. I remember the first heroic tank raid that my guild originally did. I was able to solo phase 3 because I ran the Imperial Grand Maneuver team with Thrawn with no speed, Tarkin, Palpatine, CLS, and Shore Trooper, and I was so proud of myself that I could solo a whole phase for the guild. That was awesome, and that was a good memory, and that was probably about a year ago as well. So yeah, any characters just scrolling through here that I went, man, why did I do that? The Rex meta, I used him at times, but he wasn't nearly as I didn't have him bossed up, I should say, or use him when he was probably at the height of his power, but he's still a great character. Darth Sidious, like I said, I farmed him, but, he's a decent character. Mace Windu was the only real disappointment, and I think he's going to get a rework and get better as well. So that's where we are today. That's where we are. So where are we going to go in the future? We just had the Anakin Skywalker Starfighter released. We're going to get a Grievous rework probably. I, for one, think that Padme is going to come out in the game at some point in time. A lot of people think I'm nuts, but it's the 10th anniversary of the Clone Wars TV series when it came out. and they're season 7 and 8, they're going to be making those as well. I'm pumped for that. So we're going to have more Clone Wars content, but sometimes the game goes in weird directions. We didn't really expect to get Revan. You know, we went from Chewie, who we didn't know was going to come out, to Revan. Now, are we going to go down that Grievous path? Is Kenobi going to get a Zeta or some sort of rework? We don't know. But the future is bright, and this is the one of the games that since I've played since its inception, or I guess I should say since I started playing it, I never get bored of. Every single day, I look forward to doing my challenges, getting in the game, and I spend a ridiculous amount of time in the game when I'm not ridiculously busy. And even though it's had some ups and downs, I thoroughly enjoy it because it's Star Wars. Star Wars is the biggest part of why I love it. And it's only getting better, and it's getting better every day, even though we have some hiccups, like I said, with the Revan situation. But overall, I still love the game. And now I'm going to have to figure out how to defeat this Revan meta and come up with some teams to let you guys know and start making more Sith Raid videos for you guys because that's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This video series of 2 videos is how I got where I am today. Somebody had asked me about it, what regrets that I have. And you know what, past June 2017, I got to the point where I was ready to just start farming everything in the game. I've dropped some money, like I said, in the game, and I enjoy it. So let me know how was your guys' journey? What characters did you farm that you didn't like? You know, was it what you're like, man, that was a mistake. You know, when we had the Ships 2.0 come out, which was probably in, what was it, April or May of this year, when we went to 3 ships, I enjoyed that as well. It wasn't like a huge significant turn in the game because I had already used some of the ships. I had the TIE silencer, which was great and stuff like that. But it wasn't like defining where something like, wow, I remember when that happened. It just was part of the game. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash the subscribe button, like the video as well, click the little notification bell so you can be alerted to every single video that I post. I'm going to put a link to my Discord server and Patreon page in the description below, so please check that out. And again, leave comments in the comment section. I want to know what happened to you and what you think. Otherwise, peace out, and may the Force be with you.